Arun Savatika, if I've said it right, uh, Your Excellency Suchitra Duraiji, Dr. Sura, Dr. Manisha, what an honor it is to be present in this place where Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore had visited and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose had visited. I didn't know about this history. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. We've been seeing that ever since we started the journey of the Kashmir Files, it's just been a divine experience for both of us. Both Vivek and I have always been trying to bring out Indian values through our films. You may have seen some of my television serials in the beginning, or some of the films that I was connected with. And ever since the journey began with Buddha in a Traffic Jam, where Vivek and I, though he's a director by profession, I'm an actor by profession, we decided to collaborate and start making movies together. From Buddha in a Traffic Jam, we started a very conscious effort to bring out Indian values, the Indian truth in front of people. There are a lot of things which have been, hidden in the pages of history. There are a lot of things which are hidden from the pages of history also. And it is our duty, I think, as filmmakers, to bring that truth in front of people. Vivek wrote an excellent script with Buddha in a Traffic Jam, showing how, the professors in some of the universities were using young minds and trying to convert them into anti-India weapons, I would say. And then we started our research on the Tashkent Files. That was again an extremely, extremely important subject because it's been over 50 years since the death of the second Prime Minister of India, and we still don't know whether he died of natural causes or was it, a planned assassination. And we tried to bring that truth out. Before even Tashkent Files released, Vivek happened to go to US on a tour, and he met Dr. Surinder Kaul, the Kashmiri Pandit himself, and one of the founders of Global Kashmiri Pandit Diaspora. And in a meeting, he mentioned to Vivek, why don't you make a story on the genocide of Kashmiri Pandits? And I don't know the exact conversation that Vivek and Surendraji had at that point in time. Vivek was a little reluctant, that's all I know. But when he came back, he had almost made up his mind to make a movie on that. And when he came and discussed this with me, I very honestly want to tell you, my first question to him was, what about Kashmiri Pandits? What is the issue? I had no idea what the issue was. All I knew, all that we were given to understand, after 30 years of the Kashmiri Pandits being displaced from their homes, was that there was some terrorism happening in Kashmir every now and then, and hence the Pandits had to leave the valley. Now that is not even half the truth. That is just a slice of it. Yes, they had to leave, but nobody had actually informed us that they were forced to leave. In fact, a very different narrative has been spreading in the country, where somehow the people who drove the entire community out, they were, being hailed as heroes. We were told in films over and over and over again how these terrorists are basically, they were just poor innocent people who the Indian Army has been, they've been going into their homes, they've been taking their fathers into custody, they've been beating them up, and after a lot of, going through a lot of pain, these poor boys had absolutely no other choice but to pick up guns and retaliate. And we bought that narrative for a very long time. But it was only when you start thinking, you realize that there are a lot of problems around the world. Even in India, we've had this huge problem of Dalits being, Dalits being oppressed by the higher classes. But this happened, this was more profound when India gained independence. Now it's come down quite a bit. But Dalits never picked up guns. We've always had women issues, Women have been oppressed all over the globe. Women never pick up guns and retaliate. So what was so special about these boys that they had to pick up guns? And that too against Indian army, who was there to defend them, who was there to defend our borders. And so we started with the research. My research basically started because I realized that there is more to the terrorist story. And while we were researching, while we were talking to people, I came to know about the real problem of Kashmir, about the Kashmiri Pandit genocide, and I didn't even know that such a thing had happened. We spoke to over 700 families, and we spoke to the people who were directly impacted by the genocide. We spoke to the mothers who had lost her sons. We spoke to the children whose father was brutally killed. We spoke to the children whose mother was gang raped and then cut alive. These are horrible incidents. And while we were going through that, while we were listening to these people, there was a time when, I kind of lost faith in humanity. Because I realized that we humans are capable of incredible cruelty. And there were times when those incidents which were being narrated to us were so painful. There was a sudden feeling that I am not being able to breathe. I can't take this anymore. My brain can't process so much pain. And I thought there was a point where I was going to get up and say, enough, I can't listen to you anymore. And at the very next moment, I realized that I'm only listening to this. But the person who's narrating the story to me has actually gone through it. And nobody has given her, a year. And she has kept all these emotions buried inside her heart for the past 30 years. And now somebody is asking her. And she's being so honest about it. And all I have to do is listen. And why can't I do that? And you start feeling extremely small as human beings. So when this entire research was done, I think we spent 4 years on this film. We started our research in 2018. I think somewhere through this course, this film became so much more than just a project for us, so much more than just a film which we were going to write a screenplay for, cast actors, and then release the film. I think somewhere it became a mission of humanity for both of us. And through our foundation, we have been taking up creative people whom we mentor. And right now we've decided to focus on the students who are willing to work on the art, literature, and culture of Kashmir. And we've decided to pick up about 8 students, giving them scholarships for that. We've also taken up young budding filmmakers who will be working with us on our projects. And we will help them make their own documentaries, or short films, or feature films, whatever they're interested in. Again, on something related to Kashmir. So for us, this entire angle of humanity has become extremely important. And I think the changes that we see in the society after the film got released, I've been so touched by the response. In fact, there is a line, I don't know how many of you have seen the film, but there is a line in the film when Anupam Kher, who plays Kashmiri Pandit in the film, when he's being thrown out of the valley, he turns to his journalist friend and he tells him, please report this. don't hide this from the rest of the country. और देखना जब ये बात भारत में सबको पता चल जाएगी, पूरा भारत हमारे साथ खड़ा होगा. Now for 30 years India didn't know about this, but the moment people came to know the truth, it's all in front of us, how the entire country, how the entire humanity has connected with the film. And it's not just in India. We've traveled with the film. We did 16 pre-release screenings in US. And there people of all ethnicities came and watched the film. There were, of course, white Americans and African Americans. There were Hispanics. There were Haitians. There were people from Philippines. There were Yazidis. There were Afghani Muslims. There were Armenian Christians. There were so many people of different ethnicities who came and watched the film, and all of them, felt for the persecuted community because they have gone through it themselves. And I think this film has touched people on a lot of different levels, and we are eternally grateful that people have taken the, people who are watching the film are taking it in the correct spirit. There are people who haven't watched the film, are, of course, talking about it in various interpretations, but I would request all of them to watch the film once to understand what we are saying. We are trying, we've tried very hard to tell the entire world what happens, when you are faced with a terrorist, because we've only heard about it, we've never experienced terrorism. So we wanted to take people into that experience of terrorism and make them understand what happens when humanity is lost. In the absence of humanity, how does one feel? And that was what we tried to do through this film. The next film we've already started our research on, and that is again going to be a very human subject, which will again connect humanity at large. I don't want to divulge too much about it because we are still in the very initial stages of research, but there'll be a lot more, truths coming out. And we started a trilogy with Tashkent Files. So Tashkent Files was the first one, Kashmir Files was the second one, and a third is going to be called Delhi Files, which we've already announced. A lot of things we try to show in that film. As I said, the research is on. It will touch a lot of truths from pre-independence till the present time. And I hope all of you are with us. All of you bless us, because we want to continue doing work that the Indians would appreciate, not just sitting in India, but all over. That people who have a fondness for Indian culture would appreciate. The people who have humanity in their hearts would appreciate all around the globe. Thank you very much.